How are you, Rajiv?
Doing well.
Doing well. You enjoyed your lunch?
Little anxious, I must add, because I'm not great at improv, so I have no idea what's going to hit me now.
Yeah. So, okay. Now, the way this works with rapid fire is diplomacy is not appreciated. So, the first thing that comes to your mind, and you have to say anything that comes to your mind. All right? Everyone's ready? Okay, fantastic. So, Rajiv, here we go. What is the first thing you did today?
I played with my kids.
Fantastic. One good thing about the Bangalore Lit Fest.
The ideas, the exchange of ideas, the diversity from climate change to technology. So I'm soaking it all in.
Fantastic. One not so good thing about the Bangalore Lit Fest.
So I'm a book addict. So since morning, I've spent almost 2,000 rupees buying books.
Did you buy my book?
No, I might buy in the afternoon.
You dare buy it because
Depends
I'll tell
on
you
the
what
questions
questions
you
are
ask me.
coming up. All right. Your favorite travel location?
So I actually travel a lot, but I'm always fond of going back home
Which is?
here in Bangalore.
In Bangalore. All right, great. So, have you ever cheated in school or college?
Yes.
Would you want to elaborate?
So I was doing decently well in school academically. So my friends used to bribe me with. I'm a big fan of green mango with chili powder on it. So there's a guy outside the school who used to sell that. My parents never used to give me money for it. So this was my way of getting that. So I've done that.
Okay. Does your alumni know you do all this?
Yes.
So, they are aware of it
Yes.
and they fully appreciate it.
Yes.
Fantastic. So, how do you explain to your grandparents what you do for a living?
So we are into experiential learning, right? So we create simulation. I'm answering you
So,
first.
assume I am your grandmother.
Okay, so my grandma was a great cook.
Okay.
So the way I would explain this to her is you can't learn cooking by just reading a book. You have to actually start cooking, right? So that's experiential learning.
Fantastic. Have you ever tried explaining to your grandmom what you do for a living?
Yes. So in fact, my grandma was so far ahead at that time. I was working for Oracle back then, and she used to ask me, "What version of Java are you on?"
Wow.
So she was
Wow.
really well informed. So I couldn't.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
So, how well do you cook on that question?
I cook decently well, but after I finish cooking, the kitchen is like a war zone. So
Great.
usually my wife doesn't let me do it.
Great. Can you make biryani for all of us if need be?
I think I can, but I don't think you'll be able to finish that meal.
Okay. So, what's your motto in life?
My motto in life is to find my fullest expression. I think we all have our own capabilities. We're finding opportunities to express ourselves.
Great. Your biggest achievement till date?
So when I started Knolskape almost a decade ago, I was dreaming of this organization which will be global. At that time, we were a pretty small company. So today, with the prospect of working with learners across 85 countries, I look back with a lot of gratitude.
Fantastic. Your biggest failure in life till date?
Um,
Or people like you don't fail, is it?
yeah, so it's all learning, I would say. There was one time when I really wanted to get into filmmaking. This was when I was working in Silicon Valley. I was doing a technology job. I was part of Oracle, right? And then I was doing theater and filmmaking and storytelling. So I really wanted to do something in filmmaking. That didn't happen.
Okay.
So hopefully sometime later.
Great. So, if you woke up one morning as the following people, what would you do? Steve Jobs.
Waking up as Steve Jobs. So that means I'm dead already.
You also have billions in your bank account. Don't forget
Yes,
that.
yeah,
So,
that's a good outcome to have. Yeah.
yeah. What would you do if you got up as Steve Jobs?
I'll probably think about iCar. What's going to happen next.
Yeah. Maybe you can think of an Bangalore Lit Fest also.
Yes.
So, what would you do if you got up as Arvind Kejriwal?
Arvind Kejriwal probably change the muffler.
Change them. All right. What would you do if you got up as George Clooney?
I'll try my hand at Bollywood because he doesn't get to play the college student anymore.
Okay.
Whereas if he's here, he can still do it.
Yeah, he can do it for the next 20 years here.
Yes.
So, yeah. What would you do if you got up as Chetan Bhagat?
I'll learn to write better.
Is there anyone in the media around? No, right? Okay. Okay, the best piece of advice someone has given you in life,
Always seek feedback.
even from your person who's questioning you?
Yes.
The worst piece of advice someone has given you.
Worst piece of advice. I think it's not really worst piece of advice, but it's not helpful advice or actionable advice. Something very deep as find yourself.
Okay. Worst piece of advice you have given someone.
I've done the same as well. Go find yourself.
Find yourself. Okay. To members in the audience, please go find yourself. So, okay. Will artificial intelligence take away jobs?
Most certainly.
Will it create more jobs than taking away jobs?
Most certainly.
The hottest startup in India right now.
I like to say Knolskape, but there are plenty of other companies that are doing well.
Okay. Second hottest startup in India.
Second hottest startup. I'm envious of what Paytm has done in a very short amount of time.
Okay. The most hyped startup in India.
After having gone through that journey myself, I wouldn't place any startup in that mode because it's hard work.
Okay.
I wouldn't want to.
Is he being diplomatic?
Quite honestly, I've been so busy with what I'm doing, I don't know what's going on around.
Have you ever bitched about another co-founder?
No.
So how is it? All you co-founders meet together and it's a one happy family?
Yep.
Even with your competitors?
So making everyone successful is one of the values that we have. So we always think in terms of collaborating with others.
Is he being too diplomatic? Okay, I'll let you go on that one. All right. One business leader you admire the most?
I think at this point in time, Satya Nadella, I think, inspires me a lot. For the first time, you're hearing words like empathy from Microsoft.
No more comments. One business leader you think is a pain in the backside?
So I won't name this person, but you're fond of quizzing. So he used to be a business guy, but he's running a large country at this point in time.
I am sorry, whom are you referring to again? Sorry, I didn't get the one. He was a business guy and he's running a country. Interesting point.
And he's very fond of Twitter.
I honestly have no clue whom you're talking about. So, okay, I'll come to him in a minute. How many flights have you taken in the last year?
100 to 150.
100 to 150. Have you ever hit on an air hostess?
No.
Never.
Never.
After being a CEO, after being... Okay. Has an air hostess ever hit on you?
No.
Never. After all that education, the pedigree, never. Wow. Is he being too diplomatic?
No. I would happily share that with you if it had happened.
Okay, great. So the best compliment a co-worker has ever given you?
How are you so calm in the midst of a storm?
Great. The worst criticism a co-worker has ever given you?
Why can't you learn Excel? Seriously, I've done my MBA, I've done so many things, but I can't get my head around it.
So how bad is your Excel? Do you know how to open an Excel sheet or?
I can do that.
Control
the minute you
S?
start talking about pivot tables, you've lost me.
Wow. And you completed an MBA at INSEAD with this kind of proficiency in Excel. Fantastic. Do you make people work weekends regularly?
So there are a couple of my colleagues here, Saud and Subbu.
Yeah, they're already smirking. I see a smirk. See, they're smirking non-stop. So
I didn't force them to come here. They came on their own volition. So
okay. So the one thing you admire about this millennial generation, the youngsters in the crowd?
I think they are finally asking the most important questions. What is unique about me? Not following the stereotypes, really going to the core of who they are.
Okay. One thing you absolutely hate about this millennial generation?
So, by the way, before I answer that, do we all know that the oldest millennial now is 38 years old? So, oftentimes we confuse millennials with young people. So, it's hard to answer that question because there are many people in that bracket. It's hard to come up with a label.
The one thing you hate about people in their 20s?
Hate
about people in their 20s?
They're getting their mobile phones very early in life. I got my first mobile phone when I was 24 or 25.
Wow. Okay. Can you run a profitable business just by focusing on these youngsters?
I think so.
Okay. The funniest reason someone has ever given you to start his or her company.
Um, so it's funny, right? I think being in Bangalore at one time, if you are working for Infosys, that's a surefire way of getting married,
Yeah.
right? Because people are asking you,
Trust me, it still works.
yeah.
So,
And so I think that's changing a little bit. If you're running a startup these days, then it makes you cool some way.
oh, it does?
Yeah, that's what I'm told. That's the most funniest reason why you should be starting something up.
Fantastic. Is climate change real?
I think so. I think it is real. As somebody mentioned, climate always changes, right? It's not new. It's been happening, but the acceleration of that, I think, is the key question.
Okay. So, how would you explain climate change to someone like Donald Trump? So, assume I am Donald Trump. How will you explain climate change to him?
So probably I'll tell him he can make more money of real estate, or your Twitter followers will increase
That'll work.
if you
That
sign the
will
Paris Accord.
Yeah. Okay. Your biggest gamble in your life?
Because yeah, starting Knolskape, I think at that point.
Your biggest regret? Your filmmaking?
Yeah, filmmaking, yes.
Okay. What age do you plan to retire?
I hope I don't retire.
Correct. What does money mean to you?
Money is just a reward for something that you enjoy doing anyway.
This is the sort of answer you get when people have billions in their account and they don't have to worry about monthly EMIs. Ladies and gentlemen, when you reach that stage, that's the sort of answer you have to give. Okay, so we will conclude this conversation with something called two truths and a lie. So you will give us three statements about yourself, two true and one incorrect. And I will post them to the audience. I see a timeout poster there. So, and we will get the audience to vote which one is true and which one is incorrect. So, three statements, two true, one incorrect.
Okay. I've done a Bharatanatyam performance on stage.
So he has done a Bharatanatyam performance on stage. Second,
I've done radio jockeying.
Wow.
And I've published 3 books.
Wow. Profile of a serious achiever in life. So, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to read out each statement again. And you will, so let's start with the first one. He has done a Bharatanatyam performance. How many of you think this is true? Oh, sorry, let me ask the other way. How many of you think this is the incorrect statement? That is about 10% of the audience. Okay. Let me go to the second statement, which was about your three.
Radio jockey.
He has been a radio jockey. How many of you think this is untrue? How many of you think this is incorrect? This is about 30% of the audience or 40% of the audience. How many of you think that he's written 3 books is not correct? Either by maths has gone wrong or all of you have not picking up your hands. So that's about 20%. So the audience consensus is that you're probably not a radio jockey. Is it true?
No, so the first 2 I have done. The third one I have not done.
Wow.
So you're fooled into thinking because it's a business lit fest and you probably think I'm an author. I am a soon-to-be author. My first book is coming out hopefully in the next 2 to 3 months.
Fantastic. Thank you for your time. It was a pleasure talking to you. Ladies and gentlemen, please give a huge round of applause. He's been very sporting with this interview. Thank you. And we will move on.